before we talk about all the political meetings that have been going on in the UK, there's the big news that broke overnight, Roger, that at least the first part of this agreement for peace in Israel and Gaza of getting the hostages back was met. Witkoff and Jared Kushner have said they are not leaving Egypt until the hostage release happens, and that they are negotiating. And it is true that when the president inserted himself and started talking about economic development and getting these Arab countries on board, he changed the dynamic and Hamas became isolated.
Yes, they did. Absolutely. It's quite a move, and you're right. It was very amusing to listen to that dissembling, trying to portray things as different than like a safe fell from the 18th floor of a building, and trying to say, well, it hasn't really damaged the sidewalk. It's
Yeah.
kind of,
It's so true. And it is funny that you do have Trey Yingst from Fox News said for the first time the people in Gaza and the people in Israel are cheering the same thing for the first time since he's been covering in 7 years. And yet you have protesters out on the streets in England and in New York and in Paris that are still using the same old tired slogans that they were using at the beginning of this war.
Well, they're useless idiots, many of them, as they call them. They don't really understand what's going on. You go to some of these marches, and the people, many of them don't even know why they're there. But yes, the people are out in the streets. You can see it and hear it cheering in both places, which is good. I, as it happened, was at the Qatar embassy in London this morning, and they're very pleased. And look forward to things being, calming down and moving forward to the next step.
I think where the shift...
it's reason to celebrate.
I think where the shift really, really happened, obviously they were working towards it, but when President Trump went to that meeting in June of all those Arab countries over IT and AI and all the things that they were there for, he made this speech where for the first time an American president said, hey, we're not going to try to change you. What we want you to be is our business partners. And if you're going to be our business partners, though, there's certain behavior. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to make you become a Western nation, but you can't keep killing people, basically. I mean, he didn't say it in exactly those words, but he said you can be our partner or we can be fighting you.
Yeah, and that speech he made where, you got to stop educating children to hate Jews and,
Yes.
all these textbooks. This stuff, you got to stop. What did he say? In America, athletes and movie stars are celebrities. In many of these countries, terrorists are celebrities. You can't keep doing this. You got to stop. It's just common sense. And he's just done such a great job, I think, and people are listening to him. Even those out in the street know that he's not at least talking nonsense. But I think it's a very good thing, and one just hopes and prays that they can move on to the further phases. And my goodness, as I said to the Qataris this morning, to give up 1,700 convicted murderers and all kinds of people for 28 dead bodies and 20, sort of innocent people who were dancing or whatever. How much more of an ask can you have than that? So let's get on with it.
Let's get on with it. That's right. So in the UK this week, you guys, or in the last couple of weeks, there's been these party meetings, and it's a different kind of way that we do than we do things here because we have conventions every 4 years. So what's the process there? And it looks to me like Reform Party is getting a lot of traction.
It's party conferences, and they happen every year, and they're simply to give the devoted a fresh coat of paint and come up with a manifesto of what the policies are, because doing them every year is probably a bit better than doing it only every 4 years.
Right.
they're full of vim and vigor and enthusiasm and partying and after parties and booze and whatever. And even the conservative Tory party, Martha, their conference was, well, many people described it as more like a wake. I mean, they actually, Kemi Badenoch, the party leader who hopes to be prime minister one day, said, we are the only party who can change things and fix this country. Well, excuse me, you're the one who wrecked it over the last 14 years.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that? I mean, they just talk all sorts of waffle and nonsense and stuff, and nobody takes them too seriously. But in the Conservative Party conference, they did something quite spectacular. She said, if we get elected, we're going to do away with stamp duty. Now, stamp duty is a terrible tax. I think you can go as high as 20% when you buy a home. So in this country, when you sell your home at a profit, you don't pay a tax on it the way you do in America. The Labor Party is thinking about introducing that in a few weeks, of course. But it is terrible if you buy a home for $100,000. You may pay $110,000 or $120,000 because of this stamp duty tax, which taxes dollars or pounds that you've already paid tax on. So it's a double tax, and people hate it. And she said, we'll get rid of it if you elect us. It's nothing other than an absolutely flagrant bribe, It got nothing to do with how good they're going to be in office or what else they're going to do for the country. And I don't think people are buying it, but they'll be happy to get rid of the stamp tax.
Roger Gewolb, thank you so much for being with us today.